So let me show you a couple of simple examples. Let's print second of am I loving? My. So how does second work? Well, it has a formal parameter. So 2 is like define plus lambda. Right, so it says create a procedure. So toSecond, the reason it's 2 is think about telling a human being how to do something. So you would say, to differentiate a polynomial, blah, 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 right? To get from here to Soda Hall, go out the door, turn right, okay? So that's the sense of 2 that we're using. I'm telling you how to do something. So toSecond, and then comes formal parameters, and they have colons in front of them. And we'll talk about the colon in a bit. For right now, it's just in the title line here, it's just a piece of syntax to remind you that this is a formal parameter and not the name of the function. So toSecond dots thing, and yeah, that's how we pronounce colon. We logo, I'd say dots. So you'll hear me say that a lot. So this part you'll recognize, first of but first of dots thing. In scheme, it would be open paren first, open paren, but first, thing, close paren, close paren. But this means the same as that, because the logo interpreter knows that first and but first each take one input. And if you have just a symbol by itself, that means you're calling a procedure. It's a procedure name, and you're invoking it. If you have a colon in front of something, it means we're looking for the value of a variable. What's new to you is this output. Output is a command. Everybody gets confused about this. Output is a command that you can only use inside a procedure definition, and it turns the procedure that it's in to an operation. So output itself is a command, but second is an operation because it says output in it. And output takes one input, one argument, and it says the procedure that I'm in should return this value. Okay? So if I just said first of but first of dots thing, it would be like saying first of but first of help. I would get an error message. You don't say what to do with. Well, the same thing is true inside a procedure body. If you want your procedure to output that, you have to say so. And one of the reasons for that is instead of saying output here, I could have said print, in which case my procedure would be a command. It would print something and not return a value. So my twice procedure does that. Twice, oh man. Prints its input twice. Okay, notice, by the way, that there aren't any brackets around the printed value. We'll talk about that in a second. Okay? So twice does not return a value. I couldn't say print twice, nowhere man. If I did that, let's try that. I get the error. Twice didn't output to print. Oops. Okay, so I'm doing print. That means whatever comes next should provide the input to print. What comes next is a procedure call. So logo runs the procedure. It prints nowhere man twice. And then twice is supposed to output a value that print can print, but it doesn't. Okay, so I get the message, twice didn't output to print. By the way, remember the first time you saw a scheme error message and you could barely see what the actual error was because there was this whole backtrace underneath it that you didn't understand, and it was a little intimidating? And furthermore, if you did see the error message, it said something like unbound variable, and you had no idea what unbound meant. One of the things that distinguishes Logo as a language is that we put huge amounts of effort into the error messages. The error messages are supposed to be non-intimidating. And in general, we try to phrase things so that it doesn't sound like you're a bad kid having done this. So it doesn't say you gave a command where an operation was needed. It's Twice's fault, right? Twice was supposed to output to print and it didn't. So we really think about things like that in logo error messages. In fact, I'll tell you a story. Foo. I don't know how to foo. So two things about that message. One is I'd like you to notice this very subtle extra space in here. That's supposed to be a reminder of how to fix this problem by saying to foo, do blah, 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 right? Secondly, it's I don't know how, right? It's not your fault. I don't know. Although some people, that's a little controversial. People write academic papers about this subject. Some people worry about anthropomorphizing the computer. So gives kids the expectation that the computer is smarter than it is. So some people prefer you didn't say how to foo. So that's a question of a little bit of controversy among computer language writers. But the real story is the original version of logo had a different error message in this situation. And the message was, foo has no meaning. And this lasted until my friend Paul Goldenberg, who was one of the early logo researchers and the world's best teacher and a great guy, was working with 5th graders, I think, or 7th graders, somewhere in that range. And one day, this little girl came up to him in tears because she had typed into logo, love. And the computer said, love has no meaning. The next day, there was this error message. Okay? Yeah, I don't know how to love. Well, it's better than love has no meaning, right? And computers don't. Computers don't know how to love you. They know how to hate you. That's a different story. Okay. Moving on. Oops. I said, oh, whoops. That's the problem. So here's Piggle. So I say print Piggle quote logo lay. Right, Piggle quote scheme scale, all that. How does it work? Well, if vowel P first word, if the first letter of word is a vowel, and then there's these square brackets. Inside the square brackets, it says output word, dots word, quote AY. So here, word is the constructor procedure with two inputs. The first input is our actual argument, whatever corresponds to the formal parameter name word, and then quoted AY. So notice that you do the quoting with the double quote character, the one that you used to think of as quote before you came here. But there's only one of it. It doesn't come in pairs. So it acts like the scheme single quote. But use the double quote character for quoting. But the interesting part is these square brackets. Square brackets in logo mean the same as quote parenthesis in scheme. Namely, I'm both delimiting and quoting a list. You can have brackets inside brackets, and those are just like parentheses in scheme. but the outermost one implies a quotation mark. If you don't want to quote something, then you don't need any delimiter at all. You just do it.